Do you see that right there? That is a 0 to 400 degree pellet grilled chicken wing. They come out crispy, they come out perfect, and I'm gonna show you exactly how to do it. Today, we're gonna be testing one of the newest methods when it comes to smoking wings on a pellet grill, like that Lone Star Grillz pellet grill, and that is the 0 to 400 method. I got a couple pounds of wings, I got some rubs, and I got a special sauce recipe that I'm gonna show you, and we're gonna do it right now. Now, I love to get my wings from Costco. They come air chilled and never frozen. These are the first and second sections. It comes in about an 8-pound pack. This is just one of the 6 packs that it comes with. Now, what I love about these is that I can get them basically at about a 1 1/3 pound pack every time. I can freeze the rest, and I'm never really cutting them open until it's time to use them. And they're very affordable. These are $2.49 a pound, and I got an 8.5 pound pack for about 21 bucks. Now, whenever I smoke wings or cook wings, I get them started by putting them into a mixing bowl like this, stuffed with paper towel, to get all of that excess moisture and purge and juices from that packaging off. Now, you're probably saying, why don't you rinse your chicken? Wash all that stuff off. Well, the reality is the FDA says not to do it, and I follow their rules. I don't make my own. So these have been dried pretty thoroughly with some paper towel. The next step that I do here when it comes to wings is I apply a little oil. So today I've got some avocado spray oil, and I'm just gonna spray a little bit in here. I'm gonna mix them up, and I will spray a little bit more, mix them up. And to be honest with you, that should be about good. I'm gonna take these, I'm gonna dump them right here. Now you'll see I've got a wire rack here, and the reason why I use a wire rack, it's much easier than taking each individual wing on and off the grill. So I'm gonna space these out here so that they're not touching each other and spread them across this wire rack, but no real rhyme or reason. But I'm gonna focus by putting a few of the thicker ones down to one side, and we'll make sure that when we put them on the smoker, those are a little bit closer to the heat source than some of the others. Now for today's wings, I'm gonna be using the Hey Grill Hey Sweet Barbecue Rub. I really like these on wings. I like my wings to be a little on the sweeter side, so I'm gonna be using this. I'll put a link down in the description if you're interested. And I'm gonna give a nice, generous coating of seasoning on all of these wings. Now we have to go through and flip them all over. Now the one thing with the oil is the oil will help that rub stick, and it will also help crisp them up a little bit. And the thing with this 0 to 400 method, it's about applying smoke and also applying enough heat to make them crispy. These should turn out pretty darn good. But to be honest with you, it's the first time that I've ever tried this method. We'll hit it with the seasoning again. Now that we've got these seasoned up, it is time to get them on the smoker, and this is where the magic happens. So let's get over there and I'll show you how to do it. Now the key with these 0 to 400 chicken wings is all about the temperature. As you notice, this smoker is not running yet. We just have it sitting here idle. I've got it ready to go. So we're gonna get this opened up, and we're gonna place this wire rack right down here. Like I said, the drum's closest to the heat source. And I'm gonna carefully close the lid. And I'm gonna come over to here, and I'm going to turn the temperature up to 400 degrees. Now the key is timing. What we're doing here is we're introducing a lot of smoke at a low temperature, and that's where we're gonna get some of that smoke flavor. When it comes to pellet grills, that's a problem that we run into, and that is getting enough smoke on chicken at the same time getting that nice crispy finish, because we have to run at those higher temperatures. So today, when we're starting at an idle status where there's no temperature, there's no smoke or anything, we're gonna be introducing as much smoke up front on this as possible as the temperature continues to rise. These wings should take about an hour, maybe even a little bit less because of the size of them, so we're gonna monitor that temperature. But the first thing that we need to prep for is the next step, and that is to flip these at the 30-minute mark. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna set the timer on my phone here, and we'll come back in a half hour and we'll show you the progress and how they're looking and what other steps there are to do at that point. Half hour later, it's time to get yourself some tongs and flip these wings. Now, I have not looked at them because I don't want to touch it and interfere with the temperature. Looking at it now, it's been up and running for 30 minutes, and it's only at 342 degrees. Now with this Lone Star Grillz pellet grill, this is nice, big, thick steel, and it's a little chilly out today, so it's gonna take a minute for this thing to heat up, but nonetheless, let's get this thing opened up and get these wings flipped. I will say, they look dry, but a good dry, not dry as in not gonna be juicy. Now, for those of you who have tried to make wings in the past on your pellet grill, one of the biggest challenges is getting them to come out crispy. Anytime you're cooking at a lower temperature or over an indirect flame, you're gonna deal with rubbery skin. And that's really one of the biggest challenges. But with this method, it's supposed to work out perfectly. 400 degrees is good enough to get a good crisp on it. Now, they're not done. We have another half hour or so, but just for science, I'm gonna use my Thermapen 1 here. We're just gonna see what kind of temperatures we're reading on these wings. So we're in the 120s, 138, 138. Now, for many of you, you're gonna say, well, chicken's done at 165 degrees. Well, the reality is this is what we consider dark meat. And dark meat, we wanna push further. For wings, I'm looking for that 185, 190, or maybe even a little bit above if we're not burning them. So we're gonna let these go. We're gonna set a timer again for another half hour, and we're gonna come back and check them. Now, earlier I mentioned a sauce recipe. I have the perfect sauce recipe to go with these wings. Let's go inside and I'm gonna show you how to make it. When it comes to wings, the first thing that comes to mind is buffalo wings. For some people, that's a little hot. And in our house, we don't eat a ton of hot stuff. So today I'm gonna show you exactly my recipe for a good in-between, and that is my honey buffalo recipe. Today's recipe is gonna be down in the description. Now today I'm gonna be making a small batch. Feel free to multiply this to make the batch as large as you need it to be. For this, we're not gonna be making a ton. Start out with 2 tablespoons of butter. Get that melted and get that starting to bubble. Now the next ingredient is gonna be honey. So today we're gonna be using equal parts honey and hot sauce. So we're gonna start out with a half a cup of honey. Before we get started with the honey, a trick, whenever you're measuring honey or syrup or anything really sticky like that, put a little cooking oil or spray oil down into your measuring cup and make sure that you wipe all the sides. The honey is just gonna fall right out. You'll be surprised. Now, we're gonna need a half a cup of hot sauce. Now, typically, you're gonna see Frank's Red Hot with buffalo sauce. I personally am not a huge fan of Frank's. Instead, I'd rather use Chola's. So we're gonna use a half a cup of that. And we're gonna work this down to a simmer. We want this sauce to thicken a little bit. Traditionally, buffalo sauce is a little bit on the runny side. And one way that you can combat that is by adding a little bit of cornstarch. If you want it to be a little bit runny, then leave it alone. Or if you wanna thicken it a little bit, add about a teaspoon of cornstarch, if not as much as 2 for this recipe, and it'll almost turn into like a glaze, a thicker sauce-like consistency. All right, the 30 minutes has passed. These wings have been in for a total of an hour at 400 degrees. Let's see what they look like. Those look absolutely perfect. Let's check the temperature here with this Thermapen. Oh yeah, these are right on exactly where they ought to be. Perfect looking texture, perfect temperature. Let's go ahead and get these out. The best part about a wire rack is being able to grab the whole bunch at once and get them inside. When it comes to saucing wings, if you want to be a professional, the key is using a mixing bowl. So we're gonna throw some of these wings in, and I can tell you they are crispy. Seem to be about the perfect doneness, and I'm just gonna throw a few of these in here at a time. Now hopefully you took the time to make some of this honey buffalo sauce, but to be honest with you, use whatever wing sauce you desire, because at the end of the day, it's all about you enjoying your food. But this sauce here thickened up nicely. Still a little on the warm side, but that's perfect. So I'm gonna put a couple heaping teaspoons down in on about these 8 or so wings. I'm gonna mix them up in this bowl here. Now we're gonna find out if these 0 to 400 wings are exactly the way you ought to be doing it with your pellet grill. I can tell you just from looking at them, I think this might be the ticket. Let's give it a try. Turned out perfect. The skin has a nice little crispiness to it. If you have any concern with the crispiness, you can always let them go just a little bit longer, but these turned out exactly how I envisioned them. And this honey buffalo sauce has the right amount of sweet with the right amount of heat and pairs extremely well with that Hey Grill, Hey Sweet barbecue rub. And just for science, we're gonna try these wings without any sauce. One thing that you can tell here is that when I took a bite, the skin stayed with the wing. These are super tender. These are still nice and juicy. Running them up to that 190, 195 degrees really didn't hurt anything. If you like this video and you're looking for more recipes for your pellet grill or smoker this summer, then I suggest you subscribe and then check out this video right here.